And our third presenter is Leena Hassan, just in the middle. Leena Hassan is a settler Canadian woman born and raised in Winnipeg. She completed her master's in public health at SFU to pursue her true passion of addressing social inequities and to engage meaningfully in activism. She is honored to serve First Nations in British Columbia as a qualitative analyst at the First Nations Health Authority. Leena Hassan.
So my presentation is going to be a bit more personal. So how did I get here? Reflections of an introverted activist. And I'd like to begin by echoing for us to think about our responsibilities as uninvited guests on these unceded and ancestral territories of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations. Yes, I'm talking about activism, and you can see I have very high qualifications. My friend Wantu there says I'm the most ethical person she knows, so you can blame her if anything is wrong. So today I wanted to talk about the three phases of my journey into activism. So starting with my inspiration, then my journey struggling through my own blocks, and then finally getting to the stage of thriving and learning. So I really learned to appreciate the importance of representation in developing a positive sense of self-identity in my Indigenous health class during my master's, by seeing how important it was to the positive self-identity of Indigenous youth. It's been found to, like communities where there's cultural connection and a positive sense of identity, have way lower rates of suicide, and they're the ones that tend to thrive. That's what kind of really made me appreciate the importance of role models. And so one of my biggest role models was my mom, being a feminist who came to Canada on her own as a new doctor by herself, and then bringing my dad over, and always really highlighting empathy and instilling a sense of justice in me. And in everything she did, she was always the one that was helping out and never sitting down, so I owe a lot to her. And I also was really lucky to have a lot of amazing role models in the Bengali Muslim community in Winnipeg, especially Jennifer Asara and Nilafar Rahman. These were girls that I always looked up to, and really made me feel proud to be a Muslim because of their feminist way of like debunking myths about Islam and showing like the important role of women, and really like living that in the way that they advocated in the community against Islamophobia. And now some of them are making films, so addressing the feelings that Muslim Canadians and North Americans have about being associated with terrorism, and how that doesn't resonate with their understanding of Islam. And I'm really inspired by also how they broke that mold of being a lawyer, an engineer, and going into the arts. So that was really cool too. Once I had that foundation built, I still had to overcome my own barriers, which were social anxiety and a lack of self-confidence, and feeling like I wasn't mature enough. And so I really took things one step at a time with baby steps. Educating myself about social justice issues, and then slowly gaining the confidence to post about these issues on my social media, and then finally trying to find out, experimenting and seeing what was going on in the community, seeing what kind of groups, what they were doing, what ideas were out there. And I was a pre-med when I was doing my undergrad, so I still had that pressure of really doing well academically and putting off my real passions for later. And so I didn't really start getting active until I started medical school. And I was slowly able to build my confidence first by talking to strangers to raise funds for sick children. So after I had tabled to do that and proven to myself that I could talk to strangers, that really helped me build my confidence. And then I went on to leading Books with Wings, which was an NGO that organized donations of books to university libraries in Afghanistan. But once I got into the clinical part of my medical school, I felt like I started losing myself, and I wasn't really able to live according to my values. I was really starting to feel the urgency of climate change and knowing that 2/3 of Bangladesh were going to be underwater if we didn't do something about it, and just really feeling frustrated that I had to go through years and years of more school without really being able to dedicate enough time to address these issues. And so I was really struggling because I wasn't engaged in what I was doing, and I got super lucky to have the opportunity while I was at the end of that struggling process to have the opportunity to intern at the World Health Organization's Climate Change and Health team. And so I was able to explore how can I bring this health knowledge that I've gained and connect it to climate change. And so I spent 3 months in Geneva, and I got to really meet inspiring researchers and advocates, organizing a climate and health summit for the UN climate talks, and being able to speak on behalf of medical students to highlight what medical students were doing to address climate change. And so after going through that experience, I decided that I was going to leave med school because it just wasn't the right fit for me. I realized after trying everything under the sun that I won't get into, and deciding to do a Master's of Public Health where I focused on climate change and health. And so that was that really changed the direction of my life. And it's not the end of the world to leave med school. Finally, I moved to Vancouver from Winnipeg to go to SFU, and I met the most amazing group of people in SFU 350, which is the Climate Action Club that is fighting for fossil fuel disinvestment by the Board of Governors of SFU, so getting the university's endowment fund money out of fossil fuel companies because they're the most responsible for climate change. And I was really lucky to find like-minded people that I really felt like I had a safe place that I could talk to, where we were really encouraged to be our true selves, and we had a clear strategy and vision of what we wanted to do. And so I was able to also build on the skills that I had developed after learning to post on social media about issues, being the social media coordinator for the group, and then just learning from this amazing, diverse group of people. One of them is here today. One of the biggest gifts of that was really building strong, trusting relationships that eventually led to the university starting to take action, not totally there yet, but committing to reduce the carbon footprint of their investments by 30% by 2030. And so it was just an amazing learning process to just see how the inner workings of university governance and all these different perspectives about addressing climate change. So it was also really amazing because we had a really collaborative model of making decisions, and our leadership really was there listening. So we'd have a president, but it never really felt like that. And so what I'm really trying to say is if you can find a group of people that share your passion and values, and that where there's respect for each other, and like those relationships can have lasted far beyond this club. We're still friends now, and yeah, I'm really excited to see where we go from here.
For your presentation, all three of you are fantastic presenters. Thanks for that.